Welcome, everybody, to the F4 Hunger Awareness Show.
It's my goal to feed 1 billion people before I die.
We want to bring awareness around the issue of hunger and food insecurity.
7 to 8 million people served so far. With the sole goal of eradicating world hunger by connecting sources of food to recipients in need. Fiorenza's Food for Friends.
And I know when we first met, as you mentioned, Propell, I guess you launched a branch in Westchester. Can you give us a little background? What Propell, and it's a credit union, different than a bank. How did you come to be? How were you formed? And then how did you get into Westchester?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been hovering over Delaware County since 1952. So at that time, it was PHC Credit Union, so Piasecki Helicopters, and pretty much we evolved with the company. So Piasecki, Boeing, our credit union kind of, just adjusted with the company. And, so again, we've been around since 1952, but in 2015, we kind of expanded from like a seg-based credit union, which means select employee group, where we were kind of just dedicated to one place of business and serving their employees and family members. So in 2015, we got approval from the Pennsylvania Department of Banking to serve all of Delaware County. So our charter allowed us to anyone that lived, worked, worships, attends school, or has family in Delaware County could now join our credit union. And so that was a big step in our journey as a business to be able to serve more people. And it was BHCU. We had a legal name change, so it was Boeing Helicopter Credit Union. Then it became BHCU. But as you would think, right? You have an acronym, and it's like, oh, what's it stand for? And then you go into the whole Boeing Helicopters Credit Union, and it's not inviting to the entire community, and it makes it feel kind of still restricted to that Boeing employee group. So, that was 2015. Here we are, 2000. I'll just rewind to 2024. We, we're looking to expand into Chester County, and a part of the plan was to kind of rebrand ahead of that expansion into Chester County to really tie in our roots, because we certainly don't want to forget about where we came from, but also have that be more encompassing of the entire communities that we serve. So the Pennsylvania Department of Banking approved another charter change in 2024. With that, we had to open up our first physical branch in the new county. So we found a spot in Westchester, opened that up in September. And, with that came the whole rebrand to Propell Credit Union, and obviously short for propellers. And we kind of tie in the helicopter in our logo. And so, our longtime members don't feel abandoned, because certainly, our history is rich, and we want to be able to continue that. Plus, we have a lot of existing members that are out in Chester County or retired from Boeing and moved to Chester County. So that was part of the reason why we chose Chester County as well.
Yeah, and for anybody local, location-wise, I think you might have said it, but it's on Route 3 and Five Points Road in Westchester.
Yes. Yep.
So it's a really good spot. So how does that work? A credit union is different than a bank. So maybe can you distill the difference between a credit union and a bank first?
Yeah, absolutely. So credit unions are nonprofits. We're a nonprofit organization. Any profits that we do make go back to our members in the form of lower loan rates, higher deposit rates. Something that our credit union does differently is, as a reward for member loyalty, since 2009, we've given back over 2.1 or 2.2 million dollars back to members. So the way that works, every year the formula adjusts based on how well the credit union does. But if you pay us loan interest, we give you a cut back at the end of the year. If you've earned money on deposits, earned dividends on deposits, we give you an extra dividend. So we combine that together to form this member give back bonus. And we've been doing this since 2009, and we have no intentions on stopping because our members are at the forefront of everything we do. And hey, you're a part of our community. We want to give back to our community, and so we've been doing that here for a long time. And that's $2 million and some change that we could have put towards our bottom line, but it doesn't. It's really proof in the pudding that our members are they come first. So credit unions are also financial cooperatives. So we work together with other credit unions. It's not a competition. There's a co-op network where any member can actually go into another credit union out of state that participates on this network and can access their money. There's over 30,000 surcharge free ATMs nationwide. So we really, credit union world, we work together. And it's a democratically elected board of directors. So, it's members of the credit union are the owners and the shareholders, if you will. So it's not like, people are, buying stock into our organization. It's all, here, our own people, our own members.
Yeah, so if I can maybe take that and try to further distill it, a bank is a for-profit entity. Its constituents are its shareholders. And typically banks are publicly traded. So you could go on and you could purchase XYZ stock. And as that bank's profits do better, the value of that share goes up. As those banks' profits do worse, the value of that share goes down. I'm oversimplifying it. But for all intents and purposes, the responsibility of the bank is to ensure that the shareholders receive as much profit as possible. It's all about profitability. So that means maybe higher cost potentially for their customers, not members, in the form of rates, or maybe they're not paying quite as high on a CD or any type of a loan product. It might not be as competitive, high yield savings account, so on and so forth, because the focus is on profitability. Whereas with a credit union, it sounds like the investors of the bank are not necessarily customers, they're members, and you're trying to return as much as you possibly can in the form of lower rates or higher rates if it's an interest-bearing product. Am I oversimplifying it? Am I understanding it?
That is a fantastic explanation of it. Well done.
Okay.
And yeah, you're spot on. And, banks are typically, fee driven. We just to put an example out there, I've been at Propell now for 11 years. Our overdraft fee is still at $25, which is probably $10 to $15 under your typical overdraft charge that you may see. And oftentimes, regulators may say, well, compared to peers, you're not making enough fee income, and that's okay because we're not here to nickel and dime members. That's not our business model.
So Ryan, what I'd like to do is take a few minutes and kind of go through at a very high level the services Propel offers, and then we'll kind of segue into some of the service work that you're doing in the community. But maybe let's start with personal banking. So I see a list of services. If you just want to touch on at a high level what services you offer to your members.
Yeah, I mean, so we run anything that you would get at a bank, we can do here at a local level, at a credit union level. Your everyday checking, your online banking, credit cards, debit cards. I want to spotlight a couple cool programs. One is our iSave program, which is a high yield savings account. Those HSAs, they kind of have, been ringing a bell and a hot topic, right? Well, our iSave savings program is a pay yourself first approach, because we work hard and our money just flies out and we're paying everybody else, but we're not paying ourselves. So this is kind of a mindset, a culture that take care of yourself first, automate your savings, because if you're not automating it, you're probably not going to do it. And this, I don't have the data off the top of my head, but I'm sure it could be researched quickly. But I would guess the average American doesn't have, 3 months worth of emergency savings if something should happen. And we constantly preach to members, you should be building some sort of emergency savings. Yes, you're not going to, this is not a retirement account. It's not a super long-term account, but it's basically building a culture that you need to pay yourself first, do it automatically. And guess what? If you pair a checking account with it and you use that checking account, we reward you and pay you the highest rate on that iSave savings account. And so, we built that. I think it was like 2018. We built that product, and that product line's expanded because again, the iSave product line really just reinforces our mission of helping members on their journey toward financial independence. And we rolled out a youth and student iSave program to kind of help kids get saving at an early age. As a father myself, trying to put a few dollars away every paycheck for your kids or your grandkids or your nieces and nephews. And that took off with a report card rewards program. So we tell our members that, hey, if you're in a student iSave account, at the end of the year, if you provide us a report card, we'll pay you $5 for every A that you've earned through the school year. If you have one of these student iSave accounts. So we're rewarding the good work in the classroom, but we're also rewarding, good financial habits too. So that program's taken off. We're seeing, probably a couple hundred report cards, I think, were submitted last year. So every year that continues to grow, and we want to make that known. We're trying to, get with local schools and promote that, so kids have something to work for or work towards.
You asked about some of the stats. I'm just pull this up real quick for those that are listening. This is a Bankrate 2025 annual emergency savings report, and it came out in February, so it's really recent. And one of the stats they mention is right here. Fewer Americans year over year would pay for emergencies out of savings. 41% of U.S. adults would use their savings to pay for an unexpected emergency expense, such as $1,000 for an emergency room visit or car repair. So some of these rates are getting a little bit better. We'll include this in the link. It's just good information, Isabella, when we do our post. Some of these studies here. And then it sounds like you also have a business banking program too.
Yeah. So we've really, over the past, I'd say 5 years, really made the commitment to be the credit union for small business, because small business folks may be overlooked or undervalued at larger financial institutions, because they're not, millions and millions of dollar accounts, and they're not highly profitable. So they might not get the time of day, that they would at, an institution like ours. We're especially, Delaware County, Chester County, a lot of small business, people. And really, we've made a commitment to being the credit union to support that small business community. So our products are very simple, but high value. And, we can really all aspects of the business operations, from your normal business checking, savings, loans, credit cards, but all the ancillary services too. I mean, we have partnerships with T-Mobile. We have payroll partners, merchant services partner, um, retirement plans, group health insurance, all these things that we can, bring to a business to really kind of have everything under one roof. And um, most importantly, having um, live bodies in locally that are accessible. And when there's an issue or a problem, they know they can pick the phone up, get myself, some of our business development officers or member service reps, um, you know, to really give them the attention that they deserve. And naturally with that, people, individuals running the business have personal banking needs too. So it kind of just aligns.
It's a win-win. And then it
Yeah.
looks like you have a couple of different branch locations. If you could just reiterate where those locations are again.
Yeah, sure. So our main office here in Ridley Park is actually on site at Boeing. So we're at the corner of 291 and Stewart Avenue, again on Boeing's campus. And then I mentioned earlier about when we branched out to Delaware County. With that, the Department of Banking said you need to have another office in Delaware County. So that's when we opened our Glen Mills branch. And then in 2022, we opened the Havertown branch that's located in the Manoa Shopping Center
Yep.
on Westchester Pike. And then again, last September is when we opened Westchester at 1 North Five Points Road.
And do you need to live in those counties in order to open up an account with Propel?
Yes. Yep. So, well, live, work, worship, attend school, or have a family, immediate family member that is a member. There's other ways you can join, but even if you don't live in those counties.
Okay, that's very helpful.
Yeah, and we've made a significant investment last year into our digital banking. So, the younger generation, they don't need to come into the branch. You can do anything that you would in the branch, you could do online. But we, as an organization, also understand that you got to have the bounce, but you can't take people out of the equation because it's extremely important when those life altering events like buying a car, buying a house, opening a business, something to be said for having, live body conversations and that human interaction element, especially when there's questions or problems. It's extremely important to, never take that human element out of the banking, world. And, I'll use an example at our Westchester office and our Glen Mills office. Our CEO actually took the drive through out of, he didn't want drive-throughs because that's more transactional based, and we want to come in and talk to you and say hi and know when your birthday is and what's going on in your life. And I just, that speaks volumes of our values and our mission to continue putting people first and having actual human interaction.
So Ryan, we're gonna segue into service, but before we do that, and I turn things over to Isabella, um, I'd like to know, number one, why Propel? So this is your takeaway, why you should consider Propel, and then two, your personal investment. You sound like you're very passionate about the work you do and your employer. Why are you so passionate? So why Propel, and where does your passion come from?
Yeah, certainly. So why Propel? I just dropped a few important points in our mission and the human interaction, the investment into our own community. Our products, our services, our rates are always going to be extremely competitive, along with a lot of other community banks and credit unions. You're going to get good stuff, but I think what sets us apart is I mentioned about our member give back and sharing profits with members. That comes to mind first. And then secondly, you know, the people in this organization, you know, we're 4 branches, but we're 30 employees. So we're a small group. We're a close knit family. You know, members are contacting us, emailing us, calling us at all hours of the day, coming in. It's really that feeling of belonging that really sets us apart. And I think you talk to any of our members, they're gonna share that good experience with you. And you know, because products and services are products and services. It's really about the experience that you're delivering along the way, and that sets us apart.
So you really are a small business credit union. So it
Yeah,
really helps you enable to meet the needs of small businesses as opposed to, and nothing wrong with really large organizations because there's large companies that need to work with large organizations. But that
yeah,
personalized, get you on the cell phone, that's certainly sounds like a differentiator. The personal level though of
yeah,
engagement, this sounds like it's really important to you. Why is this so important to you, Ryan? Why do you care about this so much?
yeah. You know, my journey. So prior to banking, I worked in juvenile corrections. I spent about 6 or 7 years at Glen Mills schools.
Okay.
I went to Ferris School for boys in Delaware. So you know, about 10 years working in that industry. I had no real business experience, no banking experience, and I was presented an opportunity here to kind of grow the business. When I first started, we were 120 million in assets. We're now at like 250, 260. So this place gambled on me, and I just, I've embodied the culture, I've embodied our mission, our vision, and I just enjoy helping people. And I know we'll talk about service, but there's service here in the workplace at the credit union, and the people in our community I get to interact with every day. I get to see business owners. They come in my office, they say hi, we hug, we shake hands. So I just enjoy seeing people comfortable on their journey towards financial independence, and I'm happy and honored to be a part of that. So yeah, you know, I'm invested in this place and certainly appreciative of the opportunity that I was presented, and I haven't looked back. These last 11 years have been a blur.